So if you enable the dashboard feature, you will be able to add new dashboard widgets, and now you will be able in a snap grid to order them and drag and drop them. So this is the default view. I am a user that has the permission to manage the dashboard. I already added a few dashboard widgets. So you can see there are multiple heights and widths. So if I want to edit, I click on Manage, and I am able to add a new HTML dashboard widget or to go back to the dashboard. And you can see that there are handles, so I can drag and drop the widgets. You can see that I am in edit mode, so for example, if I have a draft, it will be displayed, and if I have a published draft, it will be the latest version. But if I go back, this one will be hidden and this one will be the published version. So you see there is no 2 at the end, and there is not the draft widget. So I can click on the border of the card to change the size or the height. And there are those actions buttons to edit, delete, or unpublish, publish, and discard. And when you edit, you are able to change manually the position, the width, and the height, and the properties of the dashboard widget. So for example, this one will be a 2 by 2. This one will be 2 by 1, and this one will be 1 by 2.
So can you resize the welcome to Orchard? It's the one. So for instance, the published draft 2, this is the unit of.
So at first it's a bit disturbing because if you don't have enough widgets, you will not have a widget passing at the line, at the next line.
What I mean is that here you can't have more than 6 horizontally, right?
Yes.
So the grid is 6. Okay. Even if you have a big screen, it's 6. I'm not saying it's bad. Just it seemed weird that one was that big.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. So if you try to resize it smaller, what I do, it just goes back to. So this is 1 and go even smaller. No, this one is 2. Okay, go smaller. Take the smallest and go smaller. Take the first widget. Mm-hmm. Yes,
you can go.
Okay,
below.
you can. Okay, this is read. Okay. Oh, it's nice still. So 6 seems good then.
Yeah, 6 seems pretty good to me. Going down any lower would be too many widgets.
And vertically.
If you have this one, you can have 7. If you have this one, the menu collapsed, you can have 7.
What do you mean? Oh, you can have 7 elements. I see.
Well, it's a little strange that they don't just resize to 6.
Yeah, that would keep it consistent. So it's like 6 elements and done. And you decide how many spaces it takes. Maybe that should be how it works. I'm sure it's just a CSS trait too. The other thing that shocks me when I see you resize is not to be able to see the snap. Like I would love the bar that you resize to snap to the actual value that it will take, because you don't know, like you miss 1 pixel and actually you didn't resize anything. You didn't see that before you drop the mouse.
Yeah, there is only the yellow triangle. Yeah.
So there is a triangle to inject, but here it's good because you have the visual cue from where it will be, but I need the same thing when you resize. So it snaps, it's not like continuous resizing, it's just snap on the grid. That will be better.
Yeah, and even if the title is empty, the curl header is displayed.
Okay, there are things to improve. Second thing, and I wrote that in the comment of the PR, I don't like the metadata list here when you're in view mode. So go back to view. I don't see why we display that 10 hours ago admin. That doesn't make any sense. So I would say it's because it's using detail and not detail admin. And maybe when it goes back to detail admin, it will disappear. But I don't think we should display that here. That doesn't make any value. And most of the time, that's what I said in the comments, users will be in view mode because once it's set up, you don't expect people to change it all the time. Like very rarely. So it doesn't make sense to save metadata, even draft or publish. So in edit mode, yes, maybe. Why not? And still, we could just have an icon to say it's draft or not in the toolbar with the title and the 3 dots. That will be sufficient, and that will not break the UI, how it's rendered. But that's about it. So I don't see why we display that or this information. At least as long as there is a zone where we can add some stuff like the actions, that's nice. Third comment is when you click there, I don't see why. There might be a technical reason, but the links should be with all the same size. I see here there are 2 sizes. If you click on the 3 dots, there is edit, delete, big, and then unpublish, small. So maybe it's just where it's coming from, or maybe it's again the detail display type that does that by default. So it's that detail admin. And that's about it. Oh, it's nice. And once it's working, I'm not sure we need to display the position, width, and height on the editor screen. Maybe we don't need to actually show up the editors because it's completely customizable now. Or it could be maybe a content type setting to display or not the editors when you edit the widget. So we can keep it, but just look at the settings. Do they want to see the editor or do they not want to see the editor, and then done. The same way we do for common metadata editor, we can just hide the text box by default because everything is done visually.
It was just a missing class on the anchor.
Okay, so that will be fixed at some point. Okay. It looks good.
Yeah.
I like it much. Told you, Antoine, just to the minimum, and then Niraj will make it beautiful.
Yeah, and find a way that you use the BTN group.
This will be fixed. I don't understand the view until you explain to me. I didn't understand what view was doing. I will just say close editor or save or cancel or something like that, because you went into any mode or leave edit mode or something like leave, close, cancel, something like that. Manage dashboard. Yeah, that's fine. New. I prefer the add to be like in the other screens because it's more enticing. Like new, I'm like, I don't know if it's new. Didn't talk to me. Add, I prefer.
And when I said I didn't want to see the date and owner, he said you could use admin placement to hide it.
Well, by default, if you use detail admin, it will be hidden by default. So that's why going back to detail admin will fix without doing anything most of the issues here.
Yeah.
So Dean commented also on that. We'll see. It's okay, I have write access to the PR. I can commit. Yeah, that's perfect.
So if you go to edit, you can see there is a new resize. You see the dashed border and the icon on the lower right. You can drag and drop your widgets. And it's now using 6 widths of
columns,
6 columns, yes. So if I add a new widget,
it's broken.
Yeah.
Refresh the page maybe, or quit, close editor and editor.
It doesn't work anymore. And
usually all the demos work fine.
Yeah.
Did you refresh the page? Refresh completely.
Yeah,
and
because I switched my yeah, no.
Close the editor and then refresh. And then
I will do hard refresh. Manage, add.
It's broken.
Not working.
Broke everything.
Yeah, you have to check. Okay. First demo, not working. Check.
So the new features here are the fact that it's 6 columns. You can you see the resize queue is better than what the buttons are named differently, are more obvious. Yeah, we still see the width and the height here, but that's okay. Yeah, that's good. Like it. And also the metadata, like 3 weeks ago, admin published, is only visible when you edit, not when you look at the dashboard, because it doesn't make sense. But then if you close the editor, it should be super clean. Yeah, it's super nice. So these are simple widgets, but we expect people to create more widgets like content items based, like latest elements or archives for blogs. Running workflows, like latest workflows. So Janice filed an issue asking, could we, so today, it was decided by design, after lots of thoughts, that we wanted to drag and drop widgets with a flow, a left to right flow, meaning you can't add anything. You have to add something after existing widgets. You can't add it on the next line. So if you drag and drop a new widget, it will be on the right of the Orchard core widget right now. And if you add one more, then it will be on the next line. Okay, so left to right flow, I don't know, stacks on the left to right. That must be a good name for that. What we said we will not do is be able to drag and drop something somewhere else in the page, like at the bottom right. And I'm not just even talking about the second line, but maybe if you can do that, you can do the 10th line, like you could scroll down super low and set a new widget. So we can't do that today. And there are 2 reasons. First, it will require to have a predefined height of the page. Today we don't, we just stack them on the left and the page will increase. And the second reason is that for the responsive, to be responsive, it's much easier because when we, so if you are, so can you put, 2 times 2, okay, and good, and now resize your screen, just to go on the phone size, just to see what's happening. I don't remember. So in this case, it's taking this, that's interesting. So what's the rule here? Why is there a space here? Can you add a widget there of 1? Is it still 6?
I cannot because I'm not on the correct branch. Okay, yes, maybe.
If you add one of space of 1. Okay, it's weird that it's added there. It looks like there is a bug here. Okay, but put the 1 on the right after welcome. Okay, and resize to a font size. So we have 3 to 1. The 3 takes the full size. The 2 takes, so it looks like now it's split in 3 columns. So I don't know what decided that, if it's the default classes that we put on these widgets. It doesn't look bad to me. Can you go down even more in the size of the window? If you resize the window smaller, like a phone size. No, the width. I don't care about the height. I'm just talking about the width.
Oh,
yes, thank you. Yeah, I don't understand. So it's still 1. I will not go with the 1, 2. I will go at that point. Any widget takes the full width. I'm not sure. We have to talk about it. Or at least some of them take. Yeah, I don't. It's messed up here. So we need to define.
But by the time you get to font size, they should all just go full width.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's been set, otherwise they're just unreadable.
Yeah, so you see, there are already some issues. Now, if we had to have custom positioning, like absolute positioning and relative positioning, like I want to put, like if I am in a big screen, I want to put it on the bottom right. First, we have to define the page width, and then we will need to be able to customize the layout for each viewport. Because if you put your thing on the bottom right, how does it look like when you have just font size? Or if you put 2 blank lines, what does it look like on a phone? Do we also put blank lines and then you don't see there is something at the bottom? So that's why, Janice, I'm not super keen of changing that. I can see that some people who might want to have something sticky in their page, but it doesn't work when you go back to a phone. And we want to support that scenario. So that's my concern. At least for now, we should not take it.
We can have header and footer zones. Sticky or whatever.
We don't have the same issue. Well, then 2 zones, and then what do we do when someone asks for a 3rd one? Header, footer, right, left, and now it's the layout module. But we have to deal when there is nothing. See, we have the same issue with, actually, we have the same issue in Orchard 1 with the layout. How do you configure it per viewport? You need then to be able to configure it per viewport, and we don't do that in Orchard 1. And that's why in Orchard Core, we need the flow module. Same thing, because it's a flow. We don't have to care about responsiveness. An option would be to be able to switch what kind of dashboard you have, like a responsive one or a fixed one. That would be an option. Same way we have layouts, we could have like a fluid layout or a fixed layout. But it will also change the properties to store the position, not just the length like we do today. Well, today we store the length and the position, but in terms of relative order. Like I'm the 3rd, 4th, and then I have a width, but there is no XY coordinates. It's just position and order. Another option would be to have widgets that are blank, like you can inject a blank widget, maybe that would work. And that will remain also blank in the, try that, try to create like technical widgets that will display nothing, be blank when they're rendered. So they're not like dynamic widgets like we do today, but they have to be technical ones with the module that can define the size, and then that can have custom behavior when they are on a small viewport. This way they can say, oh, I want still to take one line, or I want to be hidden completely in a small viewport, so it will be stacked. That might be a solution. This way we can add new lines, a new line widget, or a blank widget, and then in the UI they won't appear unless in edit mode. You want to try that, Janice? On a PR, that might be a solution. To add fake widgets, like placeholders. Placeholder widget, a placeholder widget where you can define the size and the behavior when it's resized in the phone mode. That might solve everything. Okay, thank you, Antoine. I just want to talk about it while seeing that.